Life is supposed to be a series of happy coincidences. But the last thing Poppy expected was to be greeted with this kind of surprise. A surprise? Try a full-blown nightmare. The laughter inside hasn't even died down, and Poppy gets a front-row seat through the crack in the door. Seeing that blonde woman, Mimi, cozying up to her boyfriend feels like the floor just disappeared. And Jewelry, with a hickey on his neck, has the nerve to say he's tutoring. What kind of trigonometry involves kissing on the couch? Her heart shatters. The words "don't tell her now" are the final blow, grinding the last bit of hope into dust. She doesn't scream or fight. She just closes the door, fighting back the tears, telling herself over and over, "I won't cry." But every step away feels like walking on glass. It's over. Tears. Not a single one for a guy like him. Poppy rubs her eyes fiercely, as if she could grind all the hurt away. She just wants to escape. And then, in her desperation, she sees it. The scooter she gave Jewelry before she left town. It's still here, a mocking period left by fate, and the only key to her escape. The engine roars, carrying her body away, but not the storm in her head. Riding that ridiculous scooter down familiar country roads, Poppy spirals. Was it her city job? The distance? Did she push him away? She hates her own cowardice for not confronting him. Little does she know, she's not just running from a broken heart. By getting on the scooter, she's just jumped on a vehicle that will drive her straight into a vortex far darker and more dangerous than any failed romance. Look at Poppy, paying the price for her breakdown. Through blurry, tear-filled eyes, she completely loses control of her bike and gets violently thrown. Scrapes and bruises bloom on her arms and legs, and fresh holes appear in her brand new clothes as she lands in a tangled, unmoving heap in the grass. She tries to push herself up, but the wave of pain just forces a weak groan back down her throat. It's almost poetic how her broken body mirrors her shattered heart. This, right here on the grass, is the absolute rock bottom for Poppy Wilkes. But when you hit rock bottom, what's left? Volcanic rage. Did you think she'd just keep crying? Wrong. She grabs the useless helmet, her stand-in for Jewelry, and smashes it into the earth before punting it away with a furious kick. "You stupid idiot!" She screams at nothing, unleashing a torrent of grief and fury all at once. This is a total dark turn. Now rewind a few hours to Narling City. Meet our other lead, Tora, in the middle of his much-needed day off. But fate is calling literally. His phone is blowing up from a contact named Goliath. The message? A frantic plea from the inland town of Moonbright. "They're going to kill me. You have to come save me." You can guess how the sleep-deprived, stiff-necked Tora feels about this. Not happy. Tora's first instinct? A cold, dismissive snort. Funny. You must have me confused with someone who cares. He thinks he could just toss this problem away like last night's trash. But that mysterious notebook and a woman who knows too much, can he really walk away? Whether he knows it or not, the thread of fate is already tightening, connecting him to the broken girl miles away. The scene shifts to the bustling city of Naren. Tora, the notorious enforcer for the Bardaman family, is finally catching a break in his smoke-filled, dimly lit room. Boom. An urgent message shatters his peace. "You have to come save me. It's from that perennial trouble magnet, Goliath." Look at him, curled on the couch, seething, practically crushing the phone in his hand. Damn it, he rages internally. So much for his day off. Agitated, he runs a hand through his hair, lighting a cigarette. The smoke swirls with his resentment. Trying to relax on my goddamn day off? Obviously, I was asking for too much. The desperate plea from the phone echoes in his head, hinting at a crucial notebook. He curses under his breath, but his body knows the truth. A deep-seated sense of duty, or perhaps a nose for trouble, is physically pulling him off that couch. He knows he's hooked. Back with Tora, he steels himself, muscles tensing as he gears up to move. Meanwhile, the scene cuts back to our poor heroine, Poppy. She's all alone, curled up on the grass outside town, her face a mess from crying. Scattered around her are the notes and files she'd painstakingly prepared for work. One act of infidelity, one accident, and her whole world lies in pieces. She stares at her bleeding arm, her torn jeans, her favorite ruined top. It's all gone wrong. But life goes on. Poppy wipes her tears and starts gathering the scattered papers, one by one. Have to catch the last train back to the city. She thinks. Clothes can be mended, notes can be reorganized. But if she loses something truly important, she'll be stuck overnight in this place of heartbreak, and she absolutely cannot handle that. She steels herself, trying to clean up the disaster first. As she cleans up, a horrifying discovery freezes her in place. She lifts one of her sneakers. The sole is stained with a dark, ominous red substance. What the hell is this? A chill runs down her spine. And at that very moment, on a rural road leading to Moonbright, Tora is speeding along in his car. One hand on the wheel, the other already gripping a handgun concealed within the vehicle. The gears of fate grind into motion as Poppy stares in confusion at the bloody stain, and Tora coldly checks his weapon. Two parallel lines begin their inevitable convergence, all because of a missing woman and a mysterious notebook. Tora, the top enforcer of the Baltimore family, is pacing like a caged predator. His repeated calls to that little bastard keep dropping, each unreachable message fueling his frustration. Out here on the lonely rural road, with only his red sports car and the silent woods for company, a different kind of agitation is setting in, a cold, predatory kind. His hand instinctively brushes against the holster at his waist. Slide. Honestly, he hadn't planned on using it tonight. Not at all. But the hunting ground has already shifted. Tora's fingers leave the phone screen only to find their way to a different, more final control. The trigger of his gun. Across that very same forest, another soft rustle stirs the undergrowth. Poppy hides there, clutching her book, a lost soul and an unwitting target. She has no inkling of the cold, metallic eye that has just found her in the dark. A silent, one-sided hunt has begun. Click. The shutter sound of a phone is lost in the woods. A clear, identifying close-up of a face is now stored in an enforcer's database. On one side of this frame, Tora's gaze is sharp, analytical, a cigarette dangling unlit from his lips, a picture of detached control. On the other side, mired in her own grief and confusion, Poppy clutches her books with wide-eyed alarm, as if sensing a presence she can't see. This is their first encounter, one in the light, one in shadow, one completely unaware, the other already marking her as a piece on his board. The hunt turns into a crime scene investigation. Tora kneels, picking up the abandoned papers. Academic draft on meat pie. What in the hell does this have to do with Goliath's plea and that damn notebook? But the next find chills him to the bone. A single woman's sneaker, abandoned in the leaves, stained with what looks like fresh blood. His phone vibrates then, Ronzo's urgent call and Goliath's frantic, desperate plea crashing into his ear almost simultaneously. Another group? They took me. The notebook, all the pieces, the tire, the thesis, the bloody shoe, the missing ex-call girl, the lethal notebook, and that scared fleeing girl. They slammed together in Tora's mind with brutal force. He rises slowly. This isn't a simple job anymore. He's standing at the epicenter of a vast, bloody whirlpool. And that girl, Poppy, she might just be the first drop of blood it spat out. Tora pressed on through the forest, but the search was far from peaceful. Kneeling down, he picked up a few scattered papers. His expression instantly grew complex. Filet mignon meat pie, a research paper? What kind of lead was this? Just as he was utterly confused, his phone started buzzing. It was his subordinate, Ronzo, reporting that the big boss, bald human, was looking for him. But how could he be in the mood for a meeting now? After the call, an even more explosive development hit. The missing woman herself, Goliath, was actually calling. Her voice on the other end was desperate. She said she had the information Tora wanted, but with one condition: she was at gunpoint by another group, and she wanted her entire criminal record wiped clean. Turns out, she wasn't just hiding from Tora's side, but was also targeted by another faction, and now she was taken hostage. Suddenly, Tora realized the clues in the forest were almost certainly tied to this kidnapped old acquaintance. Goliath was tied up in a dim warehouse, with masked men pinning her down. Over the phone, she weakly mocked. "What's the point of catching me? I'm just small fry. There are bigger fish in the sea." That was loaded. Who were the bigger fish? Could it be related to that important notebook she was hiding? An old photo of her embracing another man flashed in Tora's mind. These waters were far deeper than he had imagined. After hanging up, Tora stared coldly at the research paper in his hand and the blood-stained sneaker beside it. His subordinate was still asking if Goliath had been taken out by their own people. Tora just sneered. If that's true, the bitch deserved it anyway. Harsh as his words were, his mind was racing. An ordinary academic paper, a bloody shoe, a former prostitute hunted by multiple parties. The logic just didn't connect. What else was hidden in this scene? A dead end? Not necessarily. Tora suddenly remembered the glimpse of a girl he'd seen earlier in the forest. Following the trail, he finally stopped in front of a public restroom. On the door, the walls, glaring bloodstains. The nature of the situation had completely changed. Meanwhile, inside, Poppy was desperately washing the stains off her hands, torn between calling the police or not. The thought of the endless trouble it might bring finally let fear overwhelm reason. Little did she know, the gears of fate had already locked onto her, and the hunter outside was now just one step away. Meanwhile, another person has zeroed in on the train station. Our mafia enforcer Tora, a moving iceberg of calm lethality. He knows the girl he's after just passed through here, and the ticket agent is the perfect key to unlock the next clue. See? The threads of fate are already tangling. Tora approaches the ticket counter, looking down. No small talk. He weaves a perfectly plausible lie of goodwill. He and his friend got separated. A girl with curly brown hair, pink and white striped shirt. The description is freakishly accurate, instantly hooking the agent's memory. And here's the kicker. Guess who's behind the counter? Mimi, the very woman Poppy caught cheating with her ex. She recognizes the girl from earlier, but has zero idea who this dangerous man is. A light bulb goes off in her scheming little head. A handsome guy like this? Maybe his info is worth trading for. She puts on a coy act, trying to fish for Tora's number. But a predator doesn't get played by his prey. Tora doesn't bite. His cold, golden eyes just fix on her. The weight of his silence alone drops the temperature in the room. Then he cuts to the chase. Where is she? It's not a question. It's an order. Mimi's flirtatious smile freezes. All her little schemes are crushed under that icy pressure. She folds instantly, sputtering out a single word. Gnarling City. Target acquired. Location confirmed. Tora turns and leaves without another glance back. The air in the ticket booth froze. Mimi thought she was playing the game, teasing information in exchange for the tall, brooding stranger's number. She didn't anticipate the switch. Tora didn't ask. He redefined the terms. With one icy glare and a low, calculated question, he flipped the script. Let's try the opposite, he countered, his voice a quiet command, not a request. The clerk's heart slammed against her ribs. This wasn't flirting. It was a tactical maneuver of pure, unadulterated pressure. Target acquired. Naren City. Tora walked away, the dismissive thanks, sweetheart, hanging in the air like a bitter aftertaste. Back in his element, the switch flipped instantly. A call to his tech expert. Ronzo. No ID. Dig up everything on her. The name Poppy Wilkes, once just a stranger, was now a formal entry on his hunt list. The gears of fate clicked sharply into place. A clear, frontal photo transmitted. The sunlight outside the door was harsh, but Tora's focus was already tunneling into the digital veins of Naren City. He didn't need vague hints. He demanded coordinates. Every pixel in that photo would become an anchor point to lock onto the girl. The hunter's countdown had begun. Meanwhile, left behind in the ticket booth, the penny dropped for Mimi. She'd been played. Fury boiled over as she stared at the fake number. She thought she was running a con, only to realize she'd been used as a convenient information terminal. Men who look like that are always trash, she fumed. Her rage, however, was a tiny storm in a teacup, creating not even a ripple in the wake of the man who had already vanished. 3 months later, Naren City train station. The afternoon sun held a familiar, sticky heat. The ceaseless cicada song dragged Poppy back to the heart-shattering summer she left home. On a bench, she flipped through her thesis in frustration. The most crucial page was missing, lost in the chaos of her escape. Lost in this cocktail of nostalgia and anxiety, her peripheral vision caught a figure. Tall, raven-haired, radiating a chill that cut through the warmth. He was boarding the same train back to Naren City. In that instant, the cicada chorus seemed to mute. A nameless dread, cold and precise, traced a path up her spine. 2 parallel lines, pulled by invisible strings, were moments away from their destined intersection in the very same carriage. Months have flown by, and Poppy's back in the city, back on that same train platform. The summer sun is beating down, but a sudden chill runs down her spine. She looks up, and there he is, a tall figure in black, walking past like a moving iceberg. That cold presence can't be a coincidence. The universe is lining up their paths again, and this time, they're not just passing by. Squeezing onto the packed train, Poppy finds a seat and collapses into it, still haunted by that missing page from her thesis. All she wants is to close her eyes for a minute. But trouble has a way of finding you. A familiar, chilling figure from the platform is now walking down the aisle of this very train. That can't be good. Her mind is racing. What does he want in this sea of people? This is it. The man radiating pure, do not approach. Energy walks right past the crowded rows and slides into the empty seat next to Poppy. The air around her instantly drops 10 degrees. Every instinct is screaming at her to get up and leave, but she's paralyzed. Panic floods her mind. Is this a move? A threat? What could a man like him possibly want with someone like her? Just when the tension hits its peak, the iceberg next to her breaks the silence. He tells a story, a heartbreaking tale of a man whose dream of being a pastry chef was crushed by life. Poppy's heart, always too soft, aches for this stranger. Sympathy momentarily overrides fear. But it's all a setup. In a chilling turn, he mentions his long work. Poppy's blood runs cold. That phrase, it echoes her own lost research. This is no coincidence. A wave of terror crashes over her. He's here for her work. Panic takes over. Poppy scrambles to leave, but in a final, absurd twist, the man calmly folds an envelope into a paper plane. He casually flicks it towards her. Instinctively, she swats at it, and in a horrifying instant, the strap of her tank top snaps. As she stands there, mortified and exposed, her worst fear is confirmed. He's not watching her. He's filming her on his phone. The chilling truth hits her. This was never an encounter. It was a targeted, meticulously planned ambush. The trap has sprung. The train car erupts with Poppy's terrified scream. A pure, raw reaction to the sheer humiliation she just endured. She's utterly mortified, burrowing into her seat and pulling a jacket over her head like it's a bunker, trying to disappear from a world that just witnessed her unravel. Whispering frantically to a concerned passenger, Poppy explains the source of her terror. He got off right before the doors closed. She presses against the window, her eyes scanning the platform as the train pulls away, finding it ominously empty. He vanished as quickly as he appeared. Cut to Tora outside Rootburn Station, already detached and composed. Meanwhile, Poppy's personal nightmare continues. As she finally processes the aftermath, horror dawns. Fleeing a paper airplane cost her more than her dignity. A frantic movement, a sudden snap. Her top came undone. And in that most vulnerable moment, what did the predator do? He didn't help. He documented. Tora's phone wasn't for calls. It was a weapon, capturing her humiliation. A message from Ronzo confirms it. The hunt has now narrowed. Their target is no longer an abstract name. It's Poppy Wilkes. With Poppy's profile now securely in his crosshairs, Tora's patience wears thin. Two girls admiring his tattoos mistake danger for allure. His icy retort, "You want my number?" isn't flirting. It's a predator asserting dominance. Poppy's fate is no longer her own. It's a file in a killer's pocket. Tora receives Ronzo's investigative report. The target is locked in. Poppy Wilkes, the editorial assistant. His mission has escalated. It's no longer just about finding the missing Goliath, but surveilling this accidental daisy that's wandered straight into the eye of the storm. The net of fate has silently descended upon Poppy. Meanwhile, the storm feels a world away. The ticket clerk Mimi, her mind still on the sausage guy she met at the station, picks up her phone and dials. Little does she know, this lead she's trying to contact is about to trigger a series of utterly awkward and confusing mishaps. The gears of fate turn sometimes with thrilling intensity, and other times with pure ridiculousness. See? Mimi dialed the wrong number. It's a sausage shop on the line, the owner completely baffled. We get prank calls from these young ladies all day asking for Tora. Who the hell is Tora? Look, Tora used the alias sausage as cover, but who would have thought he'd endorse an actual sausage shop by sheer coincidence? The real tracker lurks in the shadows, while the business card he left behind triggers a comedy of errors across town. Back to Poppy. Mustering her courage, she walks into the police station to report the train peeper and the bloody napkin. The dim hallway, the oppressive air, her heart pounding. Just as the tension peaks, that smell hits her again. The cloying, sickening, bizarre scent of cured meat perfume. The officer thinks she's imagining things, but Poppy knows. This is no coincidence. Since the train, it's been clinging to her like a ghost. Something's very wrong. In the oppressive interrogation room, Inspector Lane explains the station's shabby conditions. Amidst this stark reality, Poppy's mind is violently yanked back to 3 months ago, that sunny day. She had just moved to Nairn City. Her kind landlady, smiling, handed her cookies, but ended with a stern warning. Remember, no matter what, steer clear of Aries Street. That's mafia territory. A passing piece of advice then, it now strikes Poppy's terrified mind like a chilling bolt of lightning. The lingering meaty scent, the missing notebook, Aries Street. Several seemingly unrelated threads suddenly tangle into a terrifying web in her mind. She might have already taken a step into a world she was never meant to enter. The police station corridor is chilly and oppressive. That familiar, nauseating stench, like spoiled meat mixed with cheap perfume, hits Poppy again. This is the smell. It's been haunting her since the incident on the train and the strange bloodstains she found, clinging to her like a phantom snake. It jolts her memory back to 3 months ago, when she first moved to Nairn. Her elderly landlady, her voice trembling, gave that nervous warning. The city's fine, dear, but never, ever go near Aries Street. The scene flashes to the neon red Aries ST sign, images of riot police, and violent gang confrontations exploding in her mind. Poppy realizes, with a sinking dread, that by coming here to file a report, she might have just stepped into waters far deeper and darker than she ever imagined. What was she thinking back then? Oh, she naively saw the big city as a land of endless opportunity, dismissing the landlady's warning as an old woman's jitters. She even reassured her, saying she'd steer clear. But now, standing in this ominous police corridor, remembering the landlady's fearful, hesitant expression, a bone-deep chill runs through Poppy. Stereotypes? No, the rumors about Aries Street and the mafia weren't just stories. They were warnings she'd arrogantly ignored. She shakes her head hard, trying to dislodge the unsettling thoughts. Just then, a voice drags her back to reality. Senorita Poplin Wilkes? A female officer guides Poppy toward an interview room, informing her that Inspector Lane is ready to see her. All suspects are under strict supervision. The officer tries to reassure her, but it does little to ease Poppy's tension because she realizes the deeper she goes, the stronger that bizarre, meat-like perfume smell gets. Covering her nose, she feels sick. Where's this smell coming from? Has it been lurking within the city's very systems this whole time? From the train, near her apartment, now inside the police station, it feels less like she's walking into a place for help, and more like she's unwittingly stumbled into the heart of some vast, shadowy scheme. Wait, this smell. Poppy yanks her collar up to her nose and freezes. The scent, it seems to be clinging to her. A wave of shame and panic washes over her. Just then, a man who just finished a call walks by, a disgusting, smug smirk on his face. He's boasting into the phone. I handled her just right. Heh, I know I'm repulsive, but I'm smart enough not to get caught, and I'm 100% sure I'd do it again. I just need to find another stupid bitch. Poppy's blood runs cold. This man and his vile words. Poppy recognizes him. That's the creep who harassed her in the elevator. He's here. Terror instantly seizes her throat. Instinct screams at her to back away, to put distance between herself and this source of danger. But it's too late. The man senses her stare. He hangs up, that nauseating grin widening. He turns abruptly, cutting off her path with an intimidating posture, leaning in close. His voice drops to a sickly sweet whisper. Why are you here, sweetie? Poppy's heart hammers against her ribs. Her worst nightmare has followed her right into the police station. Talk about bad luck. Poppy barely steps into the precinct. And who does she run into? The same creepy guy from the elevator, still reeking of that strange cologne. The tension is instant, thick enough to cut, freezing Poppy in her tracks. Just as the creep gets too close, a sharp-eyed officer intervenes, sending him packing. Collapsed against the wall, Poppy feels utterly wrung out. But with a deep breath, she wipes her tears, steeling herself. Fine. If no one's coming to save her, she'll march right into Inspector Lane's office herself. Finally facing Inspector Lane, Poppy pours her heart out. The stalking, the torn clothes, the whole terrifying ordeal. She clutches at a lifeline. That black jacket Tora left behind. DNA evidence. Finally, something concrete to nail the creep with, or so she thinks. Inspector Lane's response is a bucket of ice water. A DNA test? Out of the question. Too expensive for a minor incident like hers, a low priority compared to murders and robberies. Poppy's hope shatters in an instant. To the system, her nightmare is just a paperwork nuisance. Dejected and defeated, Poppy leaves. But as the door clicks shut, Inspector Lane's gaze lingers on that black jacket. A flicker of recognition passes through her eyes. She rifles through old files, landing on a confidential report. A massive underworld gathering months ago. A chilling thought dawns. Why does this seemingly ordinary girl feel so connected to that dark world? Poppy left the police station feeling utterly defeated. Meanwhile, Inspector Lane was going through a dusty old file. And there it was, a confidential photo from a massive gang gathering on Aries Street. His cursor froze. In the corner of the shot, a familiar jacket, and the face wearing it looked unsettlingly like the ordinary book editor who just walked out. A chilling realization hit him. This wasn't just a simple case of lost and found anymore. In another part of the city, darkness was stirring. Two masked men, thinking they'd landed a sweet gig, break into a former prostitute named Goliath's place, find some notebook, get paid. Easy. They strolled through the grimy neighborhood, even complaining about the delay at the police station. Relax, man. This dump is a ghost town. No one's gonna get in our way, one said, turning the key. Little did they know, the house wasn't empty tonight. Someone was already inside, waiting for them to deliver themselves. The door opened into pitch black, a silence so thick it was suffocating. The lead guy flicked on his flashlight, and a primal dread washed over him. Something's wrong here, his voice trembled. I've got a chill in my bones. Is this place really unknown? Let's bail. But as he turned to flee, the flashlight beam vanished. Not flickered out, but was calmly plucked from his hand by an unseen force from the darkness. He froze, sweat soaking his back. Then, a low, icy voice sliced through the shadows behind them. What's the rush? Stay a little longer. Escape? Too late. What erupted from the darkness wasn't a shout, but pure, unadulterated violence. One masked thug barely managed to slur, "Who the hell are why?" before a ring-clad fist smashed his head into the wall with a sickening thud. The other was launched off his feet by an invisible blow, crashing to the floor with a sound of cracking ribs. As the dust settled, Tora stepped into the dim light, flecks of blood on his face, his amber eyes utterly cold. He pressed his boot down on the groaning figure beneath him, his voice a low, deadly chill. "Now tell me, which son of a bitch sent you?"